folks, I'm Danielle, and I will be your musical minstrel and co-host for tonight's showcase. And now, my lovely co-host for the evening, Ghislaine.
Thank you, Danielle. What a lovely compliment. Of course, I told you what to say. Anyway, so aloha, everyone. I'm Ghislaine, and welcome to what is our last scintillating showcase and open mic night of 2020, part of our live and virtual series with Intervision Entertainment and myaloha.tv. Tonight's opener is more of a reflection versus stand-up. So brace yourself for a few feels, some smiles, and hopefully we can share a laugh or two. So the theme this week is 2020, the final countdown. And what a decade this year has been, huh? We certainly started out 2020 so optimistic. I know I did. Because for me, 2019 was the worst year of my life. And when a friend of mine was hosting an inspiration board making party in preparation of the new year, I thought, why not? Famous last words. I put up pictures of places we wanted to live and travel to. I posted short-term and long-term goals and carefully printed out inspirational thoughts on bright pieces of paper, and I pinned them to cork boards all around our home studio. My partner and I felt so ready. If only we had known what we were getting ready for. I don't know about you, but I am definitely not interested in a sequel. I preferred 2020 to be thought more of as a one-off, because everyone knows the sequel usually has a lower budget than the original, a worse plot, and with less appealing special effects. So instead of next year being a sequel, let it be the dawn of a happy, healthy, and successful saga. Because this year's story is getting old. I honestly cannot remember it all. There was the great toilet paper famine. There were earthquakes, floods, hurricanes, pestilence, political, socioeconomical unrest. Something about Kanye West wanting to be president. I seem to recall Dave Chappelle finally going off the deep end, and somehow the great debate over which artery clogging fast food chain has the best chicken sandwich has yet to be officially decided. As I reflect in the wake of 2020, I realized something very unexpected. I have no idea how it happened, but most of the goals that we set for the year were actually accomplished. Not the events we were going to work and attend, and definitely not the in-person social gatherings. Those were all put on hold. But the grand list of building and strengthening friendships, of making strong networking connections with other amazing, talented people, of putting out more content on social media, of finding our purpose. Well, these were all accomplished, and then some. These Sundays have been one of the many, many saving graces that came to our lives and reminded us of our purpose as performers, to inspire and allow ourselves to be inspired by others. When I was down, the power of song and story was what picked me up. And tonight, my hope is that this show does the same for you. And if you are already feeling inspired, may you help spread that joy to others. So, whether you've had some good memories to reflect upon, or whether you're planning on writing off 2020 like it never happened, grab a cup of your favorite libation, get comfortable, because we have a great show for you tonight filled with stories and songs from near and far. And on that note, I'd like to introduce our musical minstrel MC, Miss Danielle May.
Hello, everyone. Since the theme for the evening is the final countdown, I figured I'd play a little Counting Crows for you. and there's reason to believe maybe this year will be better than the last. I can't remember the last thing that you said as you were leaving. Now the days go by so fast, and it's one more day up in the canyon, and it's one more night in Hollywood. If you think that I could be forgiven, I wish you would. Na 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 na, yeah. The smell of hospitals in winter, and the feeling that it's all a lot of oysters but no pearls. All at once you look across a crowded room, you see the way that light attaches to a girl. And it's one more day up in the canyon, and it's one more night in Hollywood. If you think you might come to California, I think you should. Na 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 na, yeah. Drove up to the Hillside Manor sometime after 2 a.m. and talked a little while about the year. I guess the winter makes you laugh a little slower, makes you talk a little lower about the things you could not show her. And it's been a long December, and there's reason to believe maybe this year will be better than the last. I can't remember all the times I tried to tell myself to hold on to these moments as they pass. It's been one more day up in the canyon, and it's one more night in Hollywood. It's been so long since I've seen the ocean. Guess I should. Na 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 na, yeah. Na 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 na, yeah.
Yay! That was beautiful. That was lovely.
Thank you. Thank you, everybody. Who am I supposed to introduce? Or wait,
well, let's get you back up there. There you are, Danielle. Okay. And you are to introduce
Angus. Angus. Oh, we love hearing from Angus. We have really come to appreciate his stories every week. And so, Angus, before you begin tonight, we have a question for everybody. And that question is, what has been the most positive experience from 2020 so far? And if there's been nothing positive, what are you looking forward to in 2021?
I hate to admit what the most positive thing in 2020 was. My beloved good wife and I were supposed to take a cruise up the coast of Norway, from Amsterdam all the way up into the Arctic Sea and back. That was cancelled. to our surprise, the small fortune we put into the trip was refunded. I think we might have lost $500 out of a $10,000 trip, but you can't ask for better than that.
Yeah, that's pretty good. Pretty good.
Now, I struggled with this week's theme, but before I go to what my offering is, I do want to say that I love your group as well as you apparently love me, because performing in online takes a skill that I didn't see in many of the bardic groups I participate in. You bring performance to a higher plane than many of those other groups I belong in, even though those are good performers live. This is a unique skill to do it in front of a video. And I greatly appreciate what you bring to that format.
Thank you. You know, I'll be honest, this idea really was started this event was started by us, but it was inspired by one of our own, Beth, who was doing stage readings and brought back all the memories of doing stage readings in a theater environment where you still have to perform it. And we said, why not? Let's do it. We were doing it there. Let's do it here.
Yes.
So thank you for that, because I feel like that's part of it. There's playtime, and then you got to actually put some heart and soul into performing, not just play at it, because that's what scratches the real itch. Yeah.
Right.
All right, I'm going to give you back to Danielle and hop out of here.
Thank you.
All
I
right,
have been studying the repertoire that I have built up for about 3 to 3.5 decades. I started down money rabbit holes, starting with trying to master all the songs that Robert Burns published. How naive I was. He published 350 songs, and I've maybe mastered 200 of them. One of the first that I can, which all of you can in some sense, is the song Auld Lang Syne. Now, you get different theories of how it came to be. Robert Burns wrote poetry. He collected Scottish folk songs for 5 volumes of the Scottish Musical Museum from all over Scotland. He tampered with some of those folk songs, and he never met a love song he didn't tweak. Some think he wrote Auld Lang Syne and merely called it a folk song. But a lot of the logic to that has more to do with the melody that you and I can, rather than the song itself. For when he submitted it for publication, he submitted it to a different tune. The publisher substituted a more popular but similar tune, which totally changed the tone of the song, and in particular screwed up how the second and third verses felt. So this is a melody that you may not ken, but was intended to be applied to the song. Should old acquaintance be forgot and never brought to mind? Should old acquaintance be forgot and Auld Lang Syne? For Auld Lang Syne, my Joe, for Auld Lang Syne, oh, we'll tack a couple kindness yet. For Auld Lang Syne, We twa hae run about the braes and put the gowans fine, but we've wandered mony a weary foot sin old last sign, and we twa hae paddled in the burn frae morning sun till dying. But seas between us braid a road sin old lang syne. For auld lang syne, my Joe, for auld lang syne, oh, we'll tak a couple kindness yet, for auld lang syne. And surely you'll be your pint stoop, and surely I'll be mine, and we'll tak a couple kindness yet, for auld lang syne. And here's a hand, my trusty fear, and give a hand o' thine, and we'll tak a good willie cup for auld lang syne.
Huzzah!
That's amazing.
Low
Huzzah.
note. Ooh.
I think I like that version better. It's a little bit more contemplative and a little, it makes you think a lot more about the moment and the energy versus just kind of it being a happy march, yeah?
It's too, the popular tune is too bouncy.
Yeah. I like it. I like it a lot.
Now, I
Well,
have heard other lyrics applied to the popular tune that fit, but I prefer the older one once I found it.
I don't blame you. I'm a purist myself. That's fantastic. Thank you so much for joining us as you do. And since I know you log off a little bit early, I'm going to be making an announcement toward the end of the show, but we are turning this show into a weekly show, and we're going to be moving our stories, Scintillating Stories, show to another location after we revamp it on and put it on streaming. So we will be moving this to every Sunday, and we hope you'll join us more often. Oh, you don't have to make the promise now.
2 out of 3 ain't bad. I can't promise every week, but 2 out of 3 I might be able to do.
I'll take that. I'll take it. All right, okay, so now we have a new friend with us today from the SCA. I believe their mundane name is Cyrus. Aha! Crush. Yes, let me add you right here. Hello.
Yes, hello.
Welcome to our madness. Ah, there it is, the hat that makes it all true. So before you begin,
yes,
and we have actually put you in this order first, your monologue first, just so
monologue, got it right here.
Okay, excellent. I would like to know, what are you looking forward to in 2021?
Well, I would like the travel season to open up again so I can go back to see a few more places in New York and maybe even Europe.
Oh, lovely.
I went to Italy a couple of years ago. We were planning to go to Praha to spend some Corona, but it was canceled by a plague of Corona.
Well then. I have a lot of family in England. I yearn to get back to them, and I do love to travel, so I'm right there with you. All right, I'm going to let you take over the spotlight, and you can share your awesomeness with us.
Yes, this is Twelfth Night by Shakespeare, which incidentally, only now that I realize, the only reason it's called Twelfth Night is because that's when it was performed. I thought it might have something to do with the holiday season, but it doesn't. Here we go anyway. MOAI. Oh, by the way, I am Malvolio. Let's see. This simulation is not like the former, but even if you crush it just but a little, it would still bow to me, since all of those letters are every one of them within my name. But here follows the prose now. If this fall into my hand, revolve. In my stars I am above thee. Be not afraid of my greatness. Some are born great, but others achieve greatness, and some have greatness thrust upon them. Thy fates open their hands, yet thy blood and spirit embrace them. And to inure thyself to what art thou like to be, cast upon thy humble slough and appear fresh. Be opposite with a kinsman, surely with servants. Let thy tongue tang arguments of state. Put thyself into the trick of regularity. She thus advises thee that sees for thee. Remember too, who commended thy yellow stockings, and wish to see thy cross-gartered. I say, remember, go thou art made, and if thou art desirous to be so, let me see thee standard will. And the following servants, as not the who touch thy fingers, saith farewell that she that alter services. The fortunate unhappy, daylight and champagnes, discovers more. This is open, I will be proud. This I will read politic authors. I will baffle Sir Toby. I will wash off gross acquaintance. I will point to every device and every man. I do not know but the fool myself. And let his imagination jade me. For every reason excites this, yet the lady loves me. She did commend me yellow stockings of late. She did praise my leg for being cross-gartered. She did manifest herself to my love. With kind of injunction derives me to these habits like thing. I thank my stars I am happy. I will be strange, stout in yellow stockings and cross-gartered, even with the swiftness of putting on my stars. Oh, Jove be praised! Oh, there is a postscript. Thou canst not but choose to know who I am. If thou entertainest my love, I'll let thee appear in thy smiling. Thy smiles become thee well. Therefore, in thy presence, smile, my dear sweet. I prithee. Oh, Jove, I thank thee. Oh, I will smile, and I shall do everything that thou shalt have me. Okay.
That was great.
Thank you.
Huzzah! Woo!
And props.
Malvolio finds a letter thinking it's written to him by a woman he likes, but the woman's servant copied her handwriting and made it appear that way.
Oh, I am very familiar with 12th Night. I love it.
I've seen it a couple of times in person, and that goes the story, which is too long to tell here, that goes with it. So
no worries. Thank you so much. We'll be bringing you back in a few moments. I'm going to go ahead and call upon one of my dear friends. Hello, Sadie.
Hello, dearest Ghislaine.
Oh,
I'm going to say your
say
name
it
as
again,
correctly as I can.
Mufasa.
Ghislaine.
And for those of you who are new, that is how you pronounce Ghislaine, not Ghislaine like the sex trafficker. I mean, alleged sex trafficker. So do you have
an E anyway? I could talk diction for hours, but that's not interesting for most people.
So, darling, do you have a bad dad joke?
Oh, I think I might. You know, the thing
How dare
about
you to make me laugh.
You know, the funniest thing about a New Year's resolution, it goes in one year and out the other. It's rough. It's a rough one.
It's great. Good. It's good. All right. Well, on that note, I'm going to let you introduce the next wonderful guest that we have.
Ooh, I have not met this person. I am excited. Next up, we have the lovely... would you prefer to go by Lady Dauphina or Jackie? I see both.
Whatever anybody likes.
I don't know what's happening.
I don't know either. I was just trying to add a spotlight and it got all wonky. There we go.
There we
God,
go.
Stop it. Stop it. We were both doing the same thing at the same time and it was canceling itself out. All right.
I'm
Sorry, you
kind
were
of
saying.
enjoying that though. That was fun. Okay.
Sorry, you were saying, love.
Well, in the SCA, I'm Lady Dauphina del Lago.
Fabulous.
And in other life, I'm Jacqueline Fiddler. So Jack, Doof. Anyway, that's the way this year has been. The things that I'm happy about this year is I got 2 new knees after 5 years.
Nice.
And
Cool.
but the surgeon fractured my tibia on the first go, so there was a lot of not being able to put any weight on the other one. So it's been a very challenging year. But there's been a lot of wonderful people. I'm from Avocal, which used to be part of Antir, if anybody knows all those places. I never got to sing a Holy Night this year. I was a professional opera singer, had slip and falls, and one of those downhill kind of journey. So anyway, if you don't mind, maybe I'll just try one verse of O Holy Night because it makes me happy.
Do.
And it might even be 2, depending on how well it's going.
Absolutely. I can't wait to
You
hear
can
it. Well,
read
I'll
it,
let
you
you take
know.
it away. I'm going to get out of here so you can
You just read it.
have the floor.
All right. One quick thing. My friend Karine in France, when I got to live with her on a scholarship, it was wonderful, studying opera in France. Oh dear. She, her great grandfather was Adolphe Adam, who wrote Cantique de Noël, the Holy Night. So I have special dispensation. I'm going to take my glasses off so that I can sing better. Oh, holy night, the stars are brightly shining. It is the night of our dear Saviour's birth. Long lay the world in sin and error pining, till he appeared and the soul felt its worth. A thrill of hope, the weary world rejoices, for yonder breaks a new and glorious morn. Fall on your knees, oh, hear the angel voices, oh, night divine, oh, night when Christ was born. Oh, night divine, oh, night divine. I'm going to take a tiny sip of water and toast all of you that I'm just meeting and hoping next year is much, much better.
You're here.
Sled. Truly he taught us to love one another. His law is love, and his gospel is peace. It'd be like really nice if we had some of that. Chains shall he break, for the slave is a brother. Black Lives Matter. And in his name all oppression shall cease. Sweet hymns of joy in grateful chorus raise we. Let all within us praise his holy name. Christ is the Lord. Then never, ever praise we his power evermore proclaim His power and evermore proclaim. Thank you.
Wow. That was so good. Thank you so
Thank
much, Dofina. That was
Whatever.
fantastic.
Thank you. You are amazing as well. Wow.
Thank you. Thank you. Oh, wow, that was great. So next up is a really cool friend of ours. It is Miss Sadie K. Are you there? Oh, there you are. But before we get to your song, what is your best memory of 2020?
It's so corny, and I feel like I'm kind of stealing it, but honestly, it's meeting all you people. It's really been a special time, and it's it's been a hard year, but I've made new friends in a pandemic, which is crazy. And like a lot of them, and you're all amazing. It's pretty wild. So I am incredibly grateful for these performances and Beth's readings and all the stuff that we get up to, all the shenanigans. I'm here for it, and I'm grateful for it. So yeah. That's
Oh,
my favorite memory.
that's so nice, Sadie. So, Sadie, what do you have for us next tonight?
I have a little song for y'all that I think pretty much sums up how a lot of us are feeling at the end of this year, and what we hope for ourselves going forward.
All right. Take her away.
All right. Sure will. Give me 1 second. Okay. All right. There we go. Is wishing you the bluest sky and hoping something better comes tomorrow. Hoping all the verses rhyme and the very best of choruses too. Follow all the doubt and sadness. I know that better things are on their way. Here's hoping all the days ahead won't be as bitter as the ones behind you. Be an optimist instead, and somehow happiness will find you. Forget what happened yesterday. I know that better things are on their way. It's really good to see you rocking out and having fun. Living like you've just begun. Accept your life and what it brings. I hope tomorrow you'll find better things. I know tomorrow you'll find better things. Is wishing you the bluest sky and hoping something better comes tomorrow. Hoping all the verses rhyme and the very best of choruses too. Follow all the drudge and sadness. I know that better things are on their way. I know you got a lot of good things happening up ahead. The past past is gone, it's all been said. So here's to what the future brings. I know tomorrow you'll find better things. 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 Better things, y'all.
That was wonderful.
Felt like a manageable goal.
That I right, like just better things.
Just better.
Better than the things that before. That all that's the bar we're giving it, just that bar. That's the bar.
It's very British of them, really, to just
I wouldn't
We're not
understand.
hoping for the best, just better. Just better.
I wouldn't understand that at all. No. Let's make sure we don't have too high of expectations so that we will definitely be pleased with the results.
Manage them carefully, love. Yes, indeed. Quite.
Yes. All right. Well, on that note, I'm going to move on. Hello, it's just me again. Okay, well, our next performer is one of my favorite people in the universe. Not only are they a fantastic performer and fellow goblin, they are the best adopted little brother anyone could ever have. Please welcome Steven. How did I get out of here? Hold on. There I am again.
Doing it at the same time.
So before, this is the best part about this is Sadie and I were both never quick enough on the trigger, and now we're both so quick on the trigger, we are jumping each other.
Yeah.
This is fantastic. Technology. All right, Steven. So what is your best memory of 2020?
Oof, this is complicated. Because there hasn't been like just bad. There's been a handful of good ones.
Right.
I have to pick one. Yes, I know.
Positivity and love is what we're saying.
You know, honestly, I'm gonna go with finishing up all of my student teaching lessons, just because it was the first time I felt like I was actually just like really on the path that I wanted to be on, was actually taking control of a classroom for the first time and just like leading it start to finish.
I think that actually is not only a great accomplishment, but what was your GPA?
3.967.
It's wonderful.
Okay, I guess.
Wonderful.
Could have been better.
Well, everything can always be better. There's no such thing as perfection. In fact, if you think you've achieved it, you've probably lost the game. So don't worry about it.
Shit, I just lost the game.
All right, well, on that note, I believe you have a poem for us.
I do. I have a reading by my favorite author, Ian S. Thomas, just because I feel like it's really good just for like New Year's stuff in general and just time and things. So it's not too long, but here we go. The Children of Time by Ian S. Thomas. January has issues with her mother. February is always talking about things he wants to do, while March does them. April eats sweets, and May pays for them. June is the oldest, but not the wisest, and July always has an opinion on everything. August never stops trying to do the right thing, even if he doesn't always know what that is. September once saw something so sad, she never stopped crying. October holds the lift for anyone, vice presidents and street sweepers alike, for his memory, not for theirs. And November makes fun of him for this. December is tired, but always hopeful. He has never once stopped believing. Monday's obviously a bastard, quite literally, as Dad can't remember who or what he was doing. Tuesday's temperamental, but okay, as long as you stay on her good side. Wednesday doesn't say much, and Thursday sometimes hums, just to break the silence. They're in love. Friday's always wasted, and she and Saturday hold each other tightly until their delirium fades. But Sunday knows she's the end. But she closes her eyes and she pretends with all the strength in her tiny heart that really she's the dawn.
Woohoo! That was
Wow.
lovely, Stephen.
Thank you, thank you.
Oh my goodness. Okay. So now I think next up we are bringing the lovely Cyrus back up for an encore. There you are.
Encore!
Hooray. Oh, we can't hear you, love. You need to unmute yourself.
There. Okay.
There we
Oh, there
go.
it is. Hold on. Let's see. I was on another screen. Let's see. Yes. Hold on just 1 second here. I must put in my next thinking cap.
Oh, excellent. I'm just
that's
going to
just
let
the
you
first
take it
part.
away. I'm excited already.
Yes. Okay. This is, and I believe one person already pointed out, what kind of this will be a German song, which is called what?
Leader or
Lieder.
yes.
Danke. Palästina-Lied vom Walter van der Walderweid. Nu alles Leben ich mir verda, sieht min Sinn, wie ich alles hielt. Das Rheinland und auch die Erde, nennt man so, wie geht. Mirst Jeschen, des ich bat, ich bin kommen an die Stadt. Hat Gott men nicht liegen trat. Schon nu Landrich und die Herre, was ich der noch an Jeschen, so bist du's il alle Herre, was ist Wunder Jeschen. Das ihn macht ein Kindgebar hier überall Lächer, was das nicht ein Wunderjahr. Ließ sich Reinhard hoffen, dass der Mensch regnet sieht. Du ließ sich viel verkaufen, dass wir ein Wunder bringen. Anders waren wir verloren, und durch Speer und Kran und die Torn wird dir Heiden, das ist der Storn. Christen, Juden und die Heiden, jend das dies Erbe sie. Gott soll Unserecht bescheiden durch Sines Namen drie. All du Welt just Lieder, wir singen an der Rettender, recht ihm das uns Gewehr. Dankeschön.
Sehr gut, sehr gut.
Gut.
Great job. That was really cool. Thank you
Yes.
so much, Kurosh.
Yes. I'll just refer the translation in there, and y'all can look up the translation. So
Well, you did a pretty good job of characterizing the song. So I think a lot of us understood at least the feel. So yeah.
That was a Christmas song. It did mention the maiden giving. Oh, okay. I'll translate a little bit of it. The maiden bore a child. Is that not a miracle? Yeah. So that's a Christmas song there for you. Yeah.
Nice. Very good.
That was lovely. Thank you so much.
Crown and thorn. So yes. All right.
I love how there's beautiful green and beautiful burgundy at the top of my screen. My two favorite colors, just about.
What's funny is Danielle and I occasionally sing together in a duo called Why Not Both. And we have kind of a similar style to how we dress, but I think we finally, and our hair for that matter, we finally found the niche. It's the color.
Yeah, that's the niche, because like I just don't like having brown hair. Nothing wrong with it on other people, but it doesn't feel like me.
Mm-hmm. And I like having purple hair. And
so I was purple forever, and so we basically looked alike. And so now that I have a roommate who knows how to bleach,
I love it.
Loverly.
It should just come out of your head that way. It looks so gorgeous. I love it.
That is what I want.
Those dolls way back when, those dolls you could push their stomach, their belly button, and their hair would come out a big ponytail. That's what I've wished to have my whole life. You guys are too young.
Oh no, I just think I'm frightened by dolls that do weird things. So that's the face I'm making. I'm like, oh no, doll. Anyway, I was a Matchbox car and G.I. Joe kind of gal. So
me too.
But now I wear dress and lipstick. Okay.
Speaking of dolls and other things we like to dress up in little bow ties, do you have a cute furry friend to share with us tonight?
I do. It's right here. This is Vash, and he has a lovely poem for you today.
Oh.
Let me expand it out. Here we go.
Tishan by Rachel Lindsay. No, that's not it. Tishan by Vaka Lindsay. Maybe. Tishan by Vachel Lindsay. Daddy, how do I say this one? Alright, okay. Just go on then. Would that such hills and cities around us sing, such vistas of the actual earth and man, as kindled Titian when his life began. Would that this latter Greek could put his gold, wisdom and splendor in our brushes bold, till Greek and Venice, children of the sun, become our everyday, and we aspire to colors fairer far and glories higher. Well, it's a good poem. Just can't say his name. Sorry, Mr. Lindsay.
Oh my goodness. So
right?
That's even funnier if you've met the cat in real life.
Right?
How did you not see this?
No.
Daddy, how did I see it?
Well, the best part of it is when we have said certain words wrong. Vash hangs out in the studio, and so when we record Scintillating Stories for a podcast, Vash has meowed and corrected us when he doesn't like our delivery or if we say a word wrong. So he actually will call us out. So I thought that's pretty darn funny.
And do you want to see your pet featured on Pet Poetry? I believe Korosh has a cute little pet up there in the corner. So if you want to see your pet featured on Pet Poetry, send videos to Ryan at myaloha.tv. Got a poem to share? Send submissions to Ghislaine at myaloha.tv. Those will be spelled out in the chat. And by the way, Ghislaine, I forgot to ask you the question earlier, so I'm going to ask you right heckin' now. Ghislaine, what was your favorite memory of 2020?
You know what? Honestly, when we united and we did it twice, but I would say the first time actually we had our Why Not Both concert. I was feeling down, and you came over and you pet Vash, and you made Vash feel better, and you were probably the first human I had seen that didn't work at Ralph's for a long time at that point. I mean, I still can count the number of humans I've seen that aren't in a store on one hand, maybe two as points. So those memories were very precious. And we sang so many songs we hadn't sung in a long time, including ones that we hadn't sung like the last time we sang. So it was good. Mm-hmm. And poor Vash, he needed it. He needed your cuddles.
Yeah. And then the second time he got jealous because you went and saw me without him.
That's true. That's true. So what is your favorite memory of 2020?
My Hobbit day. I ate so many potatoes.
I love that your favorite memory is potatoes.
And cheese. Cheese and potatoes.
And pairing those cheese and potatoes with different drinks.
Yes.
Throughout the day. Yes. All right, I'm going to...
Alrighty then. So I believe next up, sorry, I didn't mean to just barge on in all unceremonious like that. Hello, lovely friends. Sorry. That was more jarring than I intended.
Actually, I kind of liked it. I like that abuse of power.
I'm here now. Hello.
Jarring, you're just exciting.
Well, next up we have a glorious vocalist with hair for days, but he needs to turn his video on. Dear Francis, are you ready to? Oh, there you are, my darling. Hello.
Hello. What is
How
up?
are you?
I'm doing fabulous right now. I'm feeling so good.
You're looking fabulous. What would you like to
Positive
share
vibes.
with us? Your positive memory or your
Yeah.
thing that you're looking forward to?
Okay.
Yeah.
So, here we go. I was recently blessed this year on the day February 4th, 2020. This day was the day that my daughter was born. And they say that like having a daughter changes you and you don't really understand what that means as a man. And it's like that was probably it's like the greatest day and like the worst day of 2020 because it's like being at the hospital and like going through a pregnancy and delivering a baby is like really stressful. Not only like on me, but like, you know, like your wife could possibly die. You know, like there's, you know, there's a, you know, so because like going through a C-section, it's like it's highly unlikely that they're not going to like mess up and like do anything, but it's like there's always like in the back of your mind like,
Oh yeah, it's a surgery. I mean, it's
it's a surgery, you know. And
Absolutely.
I'm like what if something goes wrong? But like, it's like super stressful, and it's like I got through it with my son, and then having to go through it again like with my daughter, but then also like but just like being like a dad to like a daughter, it like I can't express how it changes you, like that day, that moment, like that you like hold your baby like in
Yeah.
your arms. But it's just different because it's like I'm like my son was born first, and it's like I felt like I was very like a bro dad. It's like you don't really, like it's like finally I got like an action figure that looks like me that I can go on like take adventures and like do all this cool stuff, like, I'm gonna dress them up and we're gonna like fight zombies and like, like do all like the cool like dad stuff or whatever,
Yeah.
but like with a daughter, it's like different, and it's like,
Well, it reminds me of, do you know the musical Carousel?
Yes.
Reminds me of Soliloquy when he's talking about what if he's a girl.
Yeah, or yeah, exactly. Like that
And
is
that
the
whole
conflict. Yeah,
perspective change. Yeah,
yes,
absolutely.
and
Well,
so I think that, yeah, so February 4th, 2020 was like the like best thing in 2020 to happen. And then close in second place is linking up with you guys, obviously. And having
oh,
this
we love
outlet to
you.
perform, um, being benched by the pandemic and like needing that like that applause, like a
Well, and
like
the outlet, just the yeah, having a place to go.
but it's like for me, it's like with like my soul, it's like if I don't get enough applause, I die.
You're a
Like
fairy. We need
have
to clap to keep you
yeah,
healthy.
it's like,
Oh my God,
does that
yes.
make sense? Like it might just be me, but like
More than you'll ever know.
I'm willing to bet, like if I don't get applause, like if I don't get my fix, I die.
Francis, I'll
All
beat
right,
you to this,
Tinkerbell.
okay? Let me put it to you this way, Francis. When we do shows and stuff or karaoke, and then like 5 people get compliments and like tons and tons of them, and I get like 2 compliments. Afterwards, I'll be like to the group. I'll say, "So was I good?"
Well, no, but it's not.
Okay.
No, but it's not even like. But it's just like having that. Not like you don't need like a big applause, But it's just like for me, I just need to go on stage and like perform, and then whatever I receive, like that is all I need.
It's the connection. It's not necessarily the validation as much as it is the personal connection.
And
I was singing to my surgeons in the hospital for both of my knee things. Yeah.
All right, Sadie,
All
I'm
right,
going to turn it over to Francis.
Get this beautiful singing because I want to hear you sing because I love your voice.
All right, here we go.
Selfish, greedy Gus.
Okay, let's do this. I think we're going to do we're gonna do, so this is the theme is countdown. And I'm like, what are the songs and like the final countdown? But it's like someone else is probably gonna do that, And like I think I'm kind of finding my niche as like remixing Disney songs, and so I'm gonna sing "Almost There" because we're literally almost there, from Princess and the Frog. Mama, I don't got time for dancing. That's just gonna have to wait a while. Ain't got time for messing around. It's not my style. This whole town can slow you down. People taking the easy way. I know exactly where I'm going. Getting closer every day, and I'm almost there. I'm almost there. People don't think I'm crazy, but I'm almost there. Trials and tribulations, I've had myself. There ain't nothing gonna stop me now, 'cause I'm almost there. I remember Daddy told me fairy tales can come true. You gotta make them happen. It all depends on you. So I work real hard each and every day, knowing things for sure are going my way. Just doing what I do. Look out, y'all, I'm coming through and I'm almost there. Almost there. People don't come from everywhere and I'm almost there. I'm almost there. There's been trials and tribulations. I know I have my share. I climbed the mountain, I crossed the river, and I'm almost there. And I'm almost there. And I'm almost there. Yes, I.
Wow. That was fantastic. All right, well, I'm going to move on because we're going to have another moment with Francis in a wee bit. That was absolutely lovely. For those of you getting excited in the background, I want to remind, please put your accolades, comments, and thoughts into the chat so it does not pick up on the microphone. And now I would like to introduce someone who means so much to me. My favorite man in the universe who needs to put on his camera. There it is.
Hello.
Yes, he is very sexy. Hello. How are you?
I am doing well. My green screen's not working quite as well as it does on most nights, and everything's set up the same, so that is driving me insane.
It is all right, though, because you are still very sexy in this very strange configuration that you have.
Break technology just by touching it. It happens.
I love how people always do the accents when I do the accents. Okay, so, my dearest love, what is your favorite memory of 2020?
Oh, I don't have a specific one. I just have a smattering of all the good times I've had online, all the new friends I've met on Zoom, just over the pandemic. I mean, I would have never met most of these people, and they'd still be just unknowns floating around in the universe if it wasn't for this massive lockdown. So I gotta on that. That's been good for me. Everything else hasn't been great, but that was a bright and shining point.
So a smattering of positive memories where you collected positive souls. Wait a minute.
Well,
okay, anyway, so I'm going to go ahead and let you share a story.
You would. Today's story is a fantasy piece called An Unlikely Friend. The air, crisp and cold, under the conifers, blew only its own forlorn song and not a whisper of the passing. The light dusting of snow on the uneven ground did not unsteady the rapid pace of elven boots. As the distance reduced, the creatures seemed even larger in person than in the supposedly full-sized illusions that the Academy Masters had ever conjured up. Maybe it was the way they shook the ground as their clubs impacted it, or maybe it was just the overwhelming reek as he got closer. Either way, he felt woefully unprepared, as if decades of intense training had done little to prepare him for his first battle with an ogre. Though he had not felt prepared for his first orc either. Regardless, 5 orcs and 1 man had since fallen before his blades, though the memories of each kill saddened his heart. The human particularly left him feeling haunted. He knew now was the time for now, and pushed those thoughts away, along with his rising fear. He repeated the oath to himself that he would have taken as a blade singer of Liralaqua, the elite elven warrior mages of that barony, had he not given in to his fear and run from the trials. This memory, unlike the others, helped him, as though the thought of his past failure served now as fuel to steel his resolve. He ran forward, his heart pounding so loudly he could swear the ogres themselves could hear it, though they were well beyond longbow range. Dashing swiftly and silently as only an elf could, he charged towards the fight. Finally, he broke through the tree line and made out the 6 dwarves, all working in coordinated fashion around the great behemoths. For their part, the dwarfs expertly maneuvered around the stupid beasts, alternating between feints and strikes, all meant to bleed the monsters down through countless wounds. Working together, they avoided the earth-shaking impacts of wood powered by thousands of pounds of enraged ogre flesh. Tristan saw it as surely as they did not, the coming disruption in their dance, and instantly switched from his silent steps to a full-on sprint as towards one of the massive monsters. As always, soft music began to spring from the air around him, and his feet fell to its rising tempo. The scene played out exactly as the elf had read in the combatant's dance. With a barked command, the dwarves split into 2 groups of 3, jumping to opposite sides, the movement causing each dimwit brute to focus on a single target. The Greybeard's group fared well. The leader rolled left, using his shield and axe to guide his own movements rather than attempting to deflect the ogre's huge club. He dodged 3 more swings from the monster, each time only a hand's breadth from death, while his companion struck. The Greybeard slammed his shield into the side of the ogre's knee, while red-bearded dwarves chopped its Achilles tendon, bringing it crashing down. The brute lashed out, and one of the red-bearded dwarves took the impact with his shield, using the force of the blow to launch himself into a spin, enhancing his own wicked slice, cleaving deep into the beast's elbow. The 2 dwarves locked eyes, and in an acknowledgement of a successful completion of the practice sequence of blows that had left the monster dead in seconds. None of this was seen by Tristan, however. He was 20 steps away when the group split, 15 when the short-bearded dwarf stumbled and fell, 10 when the ogre locked its gaze on the prone dwarf, 5 when the other 2 dwarves dove to shield their falling comrade, though the move that neither of them had a possible hope of surviving. As the ogre's club started crashing down, the inertia of his run pushed Tristan's left sword to the hilt in its elbow, effectively changing what would have been a fatal blow to one that simply left the dwarf stunned. Even still, his sensitive ears heard the sickening crunch of several bones as he reversed direction and withdrew his blade, his other sword ineffectively slicing across this monster's calf. A painful cut, but essentially harmless. Not so harmless, however, was the focus the pain brought to the ogre, as it locked its eyes on the elves like a rabid hound. From the outside, it looked brilliant, the elf evading every bone-shattering arc after arc of killing force, answering with a dozen wounds in a blur. From the inside, the said elf could feel the noose pulling tight. One mistake, it was over, and he had injured the ogre no more than a falling rosebush. Time lost all meaning as Tristan gave himself fully over to the song of battle. Each moment was merely a bridge from one note to the next, the rhythms of his dance keeping him just a fraction of a second ahead of disaster. He landed 6 more beautiful yet ineffective cuts and stabs along the ogre's arms and legs as he bolted past. His defensively evasive movements prevented him from planting his feet for a more effective strike. He knew he had to escape to the woods, but the massive creature could easily outrun him, and Tristan's options were slowly running out. A moment of pure desperation propelled him up the side of a tree, and he kicked off and somersaulted backwards, landing lightly on the beast's shoulder as its club came crashing to where the elf had been an instant before. He used the monster's spin to launch himself as far as possible, but he knew it was over. He was running away from the force now with no hope of escape. He rolled once, twice, and with agility beyond what most elves would achieve, he vaulted high over a slamming club to buy an extra second or 2 of life. And that's when the ogre fell hard. It crashed down, a perfectly timed axe meeting the side of the ogre's neck, sending up geysers of blood. Sheathing his swords with a flourish, Tristan hit the frozen ground with a thud, dropping to hands and knees in a crouch. He inhaled deeply as he caught his breath, exhausted but alert. A slow chuckle from behind Tristan soon became an infectious full-belly laugh from the half-dozen dwarves that had witnessed the display. The elf studied the 4 armored warriors, 2 of which splinted the arm of a third. Both the Greybeard and the and the short-bearded dwarf had only smith's aprons to complement their axes and shields. Only an elf would take a bow. You got timing, lad, I'll give ye. That's Owen, Oric, Barther, and Captain Ulfar, all of the Grim Guard. And this is my apprentice, Tacklin, the greybeard said, gesturing to the short-bearded dwarf who had slipped. Meself is Hubert Stoutads of Aster, referring to the largest and by far the most ancient stronghold of the Seven Citadels. Caravan leader selling swords and armor for Clown Stoutax. And you just saved 3 of me dwarfs. This stout graybeard offered him his hand for the elf to rise, and Tristan accepted the offer. The dwarf continued, If it's within me power, lad, ask anything and it's yours. Tristan Frostmane of the Grove Beyond, just passing by, noble dwarf. I do graciously accept your offer, but I would ask no more than a warm meal by a fire and perhaps a song. Unless, of course, someone is willing to wager on a thrown dagger, though I must be warned, I am skilled. The old dwarf seemed both impressed and disappointed by the modest request and laughed again. Aye, we can do that, and while we're at it, how about you let us, Master Smith, take a look at your blades? Tristan hesitated for just a moment and slowly turned over the swords that had sat on his hips for decades. The wise old dwarf recognized the pause as a hint at something deeper, but did not pursue. The swords he held were clearly training weapons with a sharp edge inexpertly added. They were never meant for true battle. The master smith gave them 50 fights at the most before breaking. More than likely, far fewer. The old dwarf gave his apprentice an almost imperceptible nod to silence him. Lad, these are well made, but they're nearing the end of their time. I have some fine blades among my wares. You've earned that, and more. I do not doubt your skill, good Harbeck. However, would you have any blades that carried a proper elfin balance? Such weapons are not common among most merchants' wares, at least not outside of Liralaqua. The wise old dwarf eyed Tristan for several seconds, and sensing a longer and likely more personal tale, let the subject drop. 6 more armored warriors hurriedly approached the group to join them when Ulfgar spoke gruffly, still clutching his sprinted arm and his grim gaze making Tristan feel like a 40-year-old recruit standing in line for inspection. Next time move in a circle, lad. Your comrades will take it down faster and you might live longer. Somehow the gravelly dwarfish accent reminding him of the melodious tones of Kalen, the Academy weapons master. And ye, indicating the master smith. You leave the garden to the guards you hired. It's why you hired us. Note the rest of me boys put on their armor before coming over. And you nearly got your apprentice killed to death this time. The smith replied, You expect me to hang back and safe and sound while you fight for me boys? And I told the lad to stay safe and back. The smith reported, his voice rising. I can see where he learned to follow orders. And yeah, that's exactly what I expect. I said it 190 years ago, and I've said it every year since then, and I'm saying it now, roared the warrior. I told ye, started the reply. They'll be at that for at least an hour, Uwain injected to Tristan with a grin. We toss axes, and I wager we're every bit as skilled as you are with a dagger. Let me get you a bowl of stew and show us our target. The elf slowly returned the grin and followed the dwarves away from their arguing to the fire. A half dozen weeks later, the day started out like most had in the 5 years or so since Tristan had taken up residence in the small trade road near Evergold. In the false dawn, he sat kneeling on the snow-covered grass. He closed his eyes inside the circle of stones and stood still at the center. 5 orcs and 1 man. The memories of those he had slain came again unbidden to his trance. The guilt came as well. He forgave himself the orcs that he had killed when they had raided their warren. It did sadden him, as one feels sad for a rabid dog, though it must be put down. The man was a bandit, part of a group foolish enough to rob some adventurers. And he knew it had been necessary to save his friends. All had agreed. He had tried to force the man to flee. He knew the two bandits they had captured were hung for murder, and he still could not stop seeing the killing blow fall. When the rest of the group had gone into the mountains to search for clues about where the orc outpost had come from, Tristan had come here, about a dozen or so miles north of Twin Rivers, and had remained since. 5 orcs and 1 man. Slowly, after many minutes, he heard soft music start to rise from the air around him. Feet, hands, core, all moved independently and in perfect harmony, deflecting attacks from imagined orcs and other monsters, all moving at half the speed of their living foes. He opened his eyes, still seeing the orcs and goblins coming from him. They accelerated to full speed, and then half again that of the real thing. Tristan's joyous movements more than kept up, and in a blink his swords came out, arcing and whirling in time with the music around him. His blade dance was a blur as he wove his way around the grove and out into the field. Seconds rolled to minutes, rolled to hours, as the blade dancer wove his magic, as he fought his imagined fights. He found the edge of exhaustion and pushed beyond. The sun was high above when he ran up a tree and somersaulted backwards, his blade slashing neatly the imagined ogre's throat before landing lightly, crouched on one knee, swords back in their sheaths. He recognized the pair of dwarves standing politely at the edge of his grove, and how long they had stood Tristan could not say. Sweetwater and light laughter, Master Smith Hubert Stoutaxe, and to you, Tellin Stoutaxe, both of mighty and honored Aster, Tristan said by way of greeting. Well met, lad, replied Hubert. He stepped back, and Tulklin stepped forward, unwrapping and presenting a pair of swords. The elf recognized them as an older elfish longsword design, one humans might mistake for a stylized saber, single-edged and sacrificing only a few inches of reach to optimize for both the cut, the thrust, and the block. Messer hilted with a simple wooden grip, the blade was thinner and thicker in the cross section near the crossguard, with a small, solid, serrated section to take 1,000 parries and more. It widened to a cutting curve before ending in a fine point. They were well made with a simple, elegant beauty to them, a very difficult shape to forge. It was a weapon meant for the precise incisions and stabs of an elf, not the hammering and hacking of a human blade. Tristan sensed a formality in the air. An elven patience dueled with dwarven stubbornness as he searched for some clue to his resolve. Finally, after a quarter hour passed, Hubert recognized the elf's confusion and spoke again. It's his first forging, lad. It's supposed to be the first commissioned officer made for first commissioned item made for a paying customer. If you accept it, he's a craftsman, a full adult in society. If you don't, it's 6 more months of apprenticeship. And for you, but before you make up your mind, know this. It's his first attempt, and most take 3. And second, keep in mind, your life will depend on these. And third, I can see it, so I'll say it. I can see your attachment to your current blades. It speaks well of ye. And you've no more room for 4 swords on your skinny hips. So I give you my word. They'll hang safely in my shop for ye or ye kin, an elf's span or more. The young elf drew the swords. They were made for his hands. He wove his feet and hands in long, complicated routines, while both craftsmen stood patiently, like beings made of solid stone. Seconds turned to minutes, and many more before the elf stopped. Both dwarves stood exactly where they had been when the elf started, and finally, with due reverence for the moment, he nodded his acceptance. A weight seemed to lift as he did so, and the grove that had been his self-imposed prison for half a decade seemed less like home. They are starlight and star bright, and the tension broke fully. And hours later, new swords and scabbards hung on the elf's hips, and the younger dwarf turned to speak the last words of their meeting. The tone brought it to something even more solemn than the gifting. My mistake nearly cost me 2 renowned warriors their lives. You saved me honor on that day, and you can't know what that means to McClan. My debt is nowhere near paid. These are a loan. A few decades, I'll have earned the skill. I'll be making these swords worthy of you. And less than 100 years, swords are legend. Don't ye doubt. You have me word. And as the pair began their long walk to rejoin their caravan, the old craftsman smiled to hear an elfish voice. Wait. The end.
There we are.
Wow.
Great, Brian. Wow.
No, thank you.
I was so flabbergasted by how good it was that I forgot how to turn my microphone back on.
Oh, thank you. That's sweet. Appreciate that.
Welcome. By the way, do you write stories? Because if you do, Intervision Entertainment is currently accepting submissions for our Scintillating Stories series, where we convert short stories, plays, and other writings into podcast format to be performed live as well as recorded and displayed online for the world to discover. If you have a story or script that you would like to hear scintillated, please submit it to Ghislaine at myaloha.tv, which will be spelled out in the chat. Speaking of authors who have had their stories scintillated, one of my favorite authors is in this particular Zoomscape as we speak, Eli.
Hello.
Hello. Eli, what was your favorite memory from 2020?
I'm going to have to go with Sadie on this one. It was definitely meeting all of you. It was the first time that I met all of you was kind of the best thing that ever happened to me this year.
That's great.
Yeah.
Thank you so much. And Eli, do you have a song for us? I hear you do.
I do have a song for you. It is a very traditional one. It is What Are You Doing New Year's Eve?
Oh, well, that sounds lovely. Take it away.
Maybe it's just too early in the game. Oh, but I thought I'd ask you just the same. What are you doing New Year's? New Year's Eve. Wonder whose arms will hold you good and tight when it's exactly 12 o'clock that night. Welcoming in the new year. New Year's Eve. Maybe I'm crazy to suppose I'd ever be the one you chose. Out of the thousands invitations you receive. Oh, but in case I stand one little chance, here comes the jackpot question in advance. What are you doing New Year's? New Year's Eve. Oh, but in case I stand one little chance, here comes the jackpot question in advance. What are you doing New Year's? New Year's Eve. Happy New Year, y'all.
Beautiful.
You are muted, Ghislaine. I can see you speaking. Hear
I'm
you.
just gonna keep saying how lovely you are, even though I'm
Oh,
muted.
thank you.
Oh, that was fantastic. You know, you and Alex are two of the best things that happened to me in 2020.
Oh,
So
thank
thank
you.
you. I can't believe we haven't met in person. It's weird.
It is weird, but we will. We'll get there. We'll get there.
I owe you a post-COVID hug that will squish the living crap out of you. Not literally.
Yes.
Not literally.
Speaking
Okay.
Don't make them poop themselves.
Don't make them poop. Unless they're unicorns, because then that's magical.
Yeah.
All right. So our
And
next
possibly
song.
candy.
So wait, you're gonna squish me? Is that what you're saying?
Maybe.
Yes. Just
Okay.
enjoy the poop, not causing any real harm.
Humans dressed up like unicorns don't count in the same way. But if you are a unicorn in your heart and you are magical, I don't know. All right. Well,
sorry, I need to tell Ghislaine what's happening in the chat right now.
What's happening in the chat?
Basically that you and me and Danielle and Eli need to sing like some Andrew's Sisters or something. And I'm like, that's what we've been saying. We're just
absolutely. Absolutely. So for those of you who do not know, at one point I sang with the Sweet Adelines, and they are both a large group ensemble, as well as they group off into their little quartets, and it was my favorite thing to do on island in Hawaii. And not for the reasons I joined, literally because I was classically singing so much that I couldn't take the vibrato out of my voice, and I thought, what a better way to do it than to sing with a group of people that you have to, or they're going to kill you. No, they don't kill you. But you feel the ever impending doom. And I thought, all right, that's how I'll fix it. And then I fell in love. And I haven't sung like that since Hawaii. So are you kidding? With Eli's beautiful low notes, your bell tones, and Danielle and I already sing together. We know we sound good together. Like I want it so bad.
It would be Lady Beach Boys in a way that I am here for.
Oh, yes. Yeah. Yes. Okay, so speaking of singing, I haven't even sung yet, but I put you on the docket to sing again, darling. You ready to sing again?
Oh, I'm ready.
Okay, then I'll let you go then. Bye-bye.
Turning into a little sheepish. So I mentioned earlier that the thing for which I'm most grateful this year is all of you. And it's been a very special time, and I'm having a lot of feelings. So Beth, this one is for you, darling. Yeah, it's not about you, but it's for you. Clarify. You've been around for such a long time now, or maybe I could leave you, but I don't know how. And why should I be lonely every night when I can be with you? Oh yes, you make it right, and I don't mind. Listen to the guys who say that you're bad for me, and I should turn you away, 'cause they don't know about us. And they've never heard of love. I get a feeling when I look at you. Wherever you go now, I wanna be there too. They say we're crazy, but I just don't care. And if they keep on talking, still they get nowhere. So I don't mind if they don't understand when I look at you and you hold my hand. 'Cause they don't know about us, and they've never heard of love. Why should it matter to us if they don't approve? We should just take our chances while we've got nothing to lose. I tell the others don't bother me, 'cause when they look at you, they don't see what I see. No, I don't listen to their wasted lines. Got my eyes wide open and I see the signs, 'cause they don't know about us, and they've never heard of love. No, I don't listen to their wasted lines. Got my eyes wide open and I see the signs, 'cause they don't know about us, and they've never heard of love. You're my Paul McCartney. Thanks, everybody. Now I'm going to try to segue out of that without being a totally awkward dork. Have you ever heard of the phrase starving artist? Have you ever heard of the phrase Dickensian orphan? Have you ever heard of the phrase, dear God, what's going to happen to us artists after COVID? Do you wonder how we even survive? Well, help make our podcasts, such as Scintillating Stories, Pet Poetry, Popular Person Problems, this show right here, happen by supporting our Patreon, which you can find the link to in the chat. And I believe dearest darlingest Ghislaine is going to bring on our next artiste.
I am. I have the pleasure of welcoming someone I truly adore, also someone I didn't get to know until this year, and who I would have met one way or the other, because they are not only an amazing SCA performer, but they are an opera singer and a burlesque performer. It would have happened. It would have happened. And I'd like to welcome the most beautiful, both inside out as well as melodious singer, who I believe is sharing a story for us. Yes. Miss Chrissy Mackey, hello.
Hello.
How are you?
Surprisingly okay.
Hey, I like hearing that. Before you share that story, I was wondering if you would tell us your favorite memory of 2020.
I actually have a lot. I mean, this year did not go anywhere close to what I had planned. I had planned to already be graduated by this point, because it's 2020, critical success, yo. But yeah. It's a critical success in other ways. I managed to meet not one, but two groups of incredibly supportive people who have helped me build my own confidence. One of those being this group, in addition to like the Zoom karaoke group on Thursday nights. I consider you guys all the same group. But also the burlesque community that I have found myself in has been amazingly supportive and has actually helped with my confidence levels and such as well. So both of those are awesome. And probably the best memory I am going to take away from 2020 is the back-to-back successful defense of my dissertation proposal, followed by my debut for burlesque all within a week. And it was fantastic and stressful, but completely awesome. And I absolutely loved it. And to answer Angus, I'm in CAID, and my discipline is industrial and organizational psychology with a specialization in training. So my dissertation is on is actually on I can't think of the words, I'm sorry, the perception of skill transference from Dungeons and Dragons to real life.
I love it because we're all nerds here. I can't even say nerds. Nah. All right. So, my dearest, I believe you have a tribute for us tonight.
Yes. I don't want to talk too much about it before I start reading because I might start crying.
You got it. You just go and entertain us, Lovey.
I'll tell you about it after I'm done reading it. How's that?
Yeah, sounds like a plan.
Okay, so the story is one of my favorite stories from childhood. It's called What Was I Afraid Of by Dr. Seuss. I was walking in the night and I saw nothing scary, for I have never been afraid of anything, Not very. Then I was deep within the woods when suddenly I spied them. A pair of pale green pants with nobody inside them. I wasn't scared, but yet I stopped. What could those pants be there for? What could a pair of pants at night be standing in the air for? And then they moved. Those empty pants, they kind of started jumping. And then my heart, I must admit, it kind of started thumping. So I got out. I got out fast as I could go, sir. I wasn't scared. But pants like that, I did not care for. No, sir. After that, a week went by. Then one dark night in Greenwich, I had to do an errand there and fetch some Greenwich spinach. Well, I had fetched the spinach. I was starting back through town when those pants raced around a corner and they almost knocked me down. I lost my Greenwich spinach, but I didn't even care. I ran for home. Believe me, I had really had a scare. Now, bicycles were never made for pale green pants to ride them, especially spooky pale green pants with nobody inside them. And the next night, I was fishing for doubt trout on Rover River when those pants came rowing toward me. Well, I started to shiver. And by now, I was so frightened that I'll tell you, but I hate to. I screamed and rode away and lost my hook and line and bait too. Oh, I ran and found a brickle bush. I hid myself away. I got prickles in my britches, but I stayed there anyway. I stayed all night. The next night too. I'd be there still, no doubt, but I had to do an errand. So the next night, I went out. I had to do an errand. I had to pick a peck of snide in a dark and gloomy snide field that was almost 9 miles wide. I said, I do not fear those pants with nobody inside them. I said and said and said those words. I said them, but I lied them. Then I reached inside a snide bush, and the next thing that I knew, I felt my hand touch someone, and I'll bet that you know who. And there I was, caught in the snide, and in that dreadful place, those spooky, empty pants and I were standing face to face. I yelled for help. I screamed. I shrieked. I howled. I yelled. I cried. Oh, save me from these pale green pants with nobody inside. But then a strange thing happened. Why, those pants began to cry. Those pants began to tremble. They were just as scared as I. I never heard such whimpering, and I began to see that I was just as strange to them as they were strange to me. So I put my arm around their waist and sat right down beside them. I calmed them down, poor empty pants with nobody inside them. And now we meet quite often, those empty pants and I, and we never shake or tremble. We both smile and we say, hi.
Oh, that's fantastic.
It's awesome.
So the story behind that story, and I'm sorry because I'm going to cry. For those
That's okay, Lovey. You're in a safe space, babe.
For those who don't know, my father died of COVID on Tuesday. And my dad is the reason that I got my undergraduate's degree in basically performing arts, acting, oral interpretation, public speaking, because I admired my dad so much. This is one of the stories he used to read to me before bed. There were like 3 different ones, and this is the one that I remember the most because it was one of my favorites. And I always wanted to tell stories like my dad. So this is my way of honoring him and his memory. And thank you for letting me share it with you.
Thank you for sharing it with us. I I don't want to take away from your moment. I'll just say that I understand. And a lot of my performing this year has been dedications to people I have lost very recently. And I'm so glad you were comfortable sharing that with us. We love you, Chrissy. We love you. Okay, and because we knew this was coming, by Danielle's suggestion, we have a couple of tribute performances for you, Chrissy. I'm going first, and it's accompanied technically by Danielle, although she cannot be with me in person. Okay. As soon as I figure out how to play. Why are there so many songs about rainbows, and what's on the other side? Rainbows are visions, but only illusions. Rainbows have nothing to hide. So we've been told, and some choose to believe it. I know the wrong. Wait and see. Someday we'll find it, the rainbow connection, the lovers, the dreamers, and me. Who said that every wish would be heard and answered when wished on the morning star? Somebody thought of that, and someone believed it. Look what it's done so far. What's so amazing that keeps us stargazing? And what do we think we might see? Someday we'll find it, the rainbow connection, the lovers, the dreamers, and me. All of us under its spell, we know that it's probably magic. Have you been half asleep, and have you heard voices? I've heard them calling my name. Is this the sweet sound that calls the young sailor? The voice might be one and the same. I've heard it too many times to ignore it. Something that I'm supposed to be. Someday we'll find it, the rainbow connection, the lovers, the dreamers, and me. La da da dee da da doo, la da 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 dee da da doo.
Beautiful.
It's our sneaky way of having Danielle in the background, yes.
Yeah.
Well, Chrissy, I love you. I hope that cheers you up. It's that, or I just start singing These Are a Few of My Favorite Things in a horrible Julie Andrews accent. Don't make me do it. All right, so on that note, I'm going to pass this on to our next tribute.
Hi, everybody. It's me again. So Chrissy and I have a few very important things in common, and one of them is a very silly TV show, but that has some very beautiful music. And I was thinking about what I could sing that wouldn't just be weird and inappropriate, and this song came to mind because I don't know, I love it. Anyway. Lay by my side and we'll sail away off to the shores of another day. All set to go once I hear you say, good night, my friend, until the morning. Up we will float as we close our eyes. Stars all around us like fireflies. Just me and you drifting through the skies. Good night, my friend. Not a thought, not a care. Resting safe and sound with each other there. And so we'll rock on our nighttime ride, cozy and warm on the rolling tide, till we arrive on the morning side at journey's end. Good night, sleep tight, we're gonna be all right. Good night, my friend. Love you, Chrissy.
So beautiful.
That was lovely. Welcome back, Eli.
What TV show was that from? Sorry.
That was Gallivant.
That was Gallivant. Take questions like that to the chat, my loves. I know you're new, so we're gonna help coach you through it. All right. You ready, my dear?
I am. So for those of you who came in a little bit later, it was decided that I was going to write a story from the time that I came in the Zoom meeting until I finished the story, or until I went on. I finished the story about 15 minutes ago. So I'm going to read the story now. So, which does involve a little bit of off-key singing, which will be off-key on purpose, not because. All right. Should old acquaintance be forgot and never brought to mind? Klaus sang off key. Bah humbug, Juno grumbled. He threw an arm around her shoulders and ruffled her hair. That's Christmas, Scrooge, and I'll remind you, that wasn't said by a good guy. She smoothed down her hair again and shoved him off. Look, I just don't see anything to celebrate about this year. Do I have to talk about all the bad shit that went down? Nah. He threw his arm back around her. If I want to see that kind of bullshit, I'll watch the news. She tried to shove him off again with little effect. Dude, you smell like weed. Not even good weed. I like the bad stuff. I offered you some. And I said no, she reminded him. If I'm toking up, it better be worth it. He poked her gently on the nose. She's legal, you know. Shit's legal now. So buy the good stuff if you want me to smoke with you. She caught his hand as he started to poke her nose again. And stop that. Come on, Juno, sing New Year's carols with me. There's no such thing, Klaus. Sure there is. And to her horror, he began to sing again. Maybe it's just too early in the game. Oh, but I thought I'd ask you just the same. I've lost my place. Klaus, she said warningly. He ignored her. What are you doing, New Year's Eve? Bah humbug. He sighed. What do I need to do to get some spirit out of you? She stood up, finally throwing off his arm, and started to pace. Make this year suck less? Make it so I can go outside without a mask on? He stood and took her hands. Look, Juno, I know this year has been rough, but it's been hard for everyone. I miss going out just as much as you do. You know me, I'm a people person. She did know that, but you spend half your days on Zoom now. He poked her again on the nose before she could stop him. And you could too. Come to the Zoom party tonight. I'll introduce you. I don't know, she groaned. I still don't feel like there's anything to celebrate. He put his arm around her shoulders again, more gently this time. Well, what about the end of the year? It's over, right? Isn't that worth celebrating? She laughed hollowly. Feels like an empty victory. We survived, sure, but sometimes you have to take what you can get, he told her gently. Here. He went into the kitchen and came out with 2 tumblers filled with sparkling apple juice. He passed her one and clinked glasses with her. To 2021? Sure. She took a sip and he drained his glass. You were just thirsty. Well, yeah. She took another drink of the cider as he flopped on the couch. She sat on the floor in front of him. What do you think next year will be like? She asked. Klaus ruffled her hair again. It's gotta be better than this, he sighed. Yeah, she agreed and took another sip of cider. It's got to be. Still, he said, it's not all bad. I made some good friends this year and we got to know each other for the first time since we became roommates 2 years ago. She sighed. Yeah, I guess there is that. Is it enough? He asked. She thought. Yeah, I guess so. To 2021? To 2021. In days of auld lang syne. The end.
That was amazing. Okay, well, are you ready, Francis? Because otherwise I'm going to go ahead and close up the show. But yeah, you gave me 2 songs, so I went ahead and scheduled you, my dear. It me now. Hello. Oh, there you go. Let's add you in.
Here I am.
Here you are.
Okay. So yeah, let's just do this. Oh wait, where's so this is Heal the World, Michael Jackson. I think there's been a lot of pain in 2020 and 2021. Countdown to 2021. I think next year it's about healing. So it's time to heal. There's a place in your heart, and I know that it is love. And this place could be so much brighter than tomorrow. And if you really try, you'll find there's no need to cry. In this place, you'll feel there's no hurt or sorrow. There are ways to get there, and if you care enough for the living, make a little space to make a better place. Heal the world, make it a better place for you and for me and the entire human race. There are people dying. If you care enough for the living, make a better place for you and for me. If you want to know why, there's a love that cannot lie. Love is strong, it only cares for joyful giving. If we try, we shall see. In this bliss we cannot feel. Fear or dread, we stop existing and start living. Then it feels like always love's enough for us growing to make a better world. To make a better world. Heal the world. Make it a better place for you and for me and the entire human race. There are people dying that you care enough for the living. Make a better place for you and for me. And the dream we once conceived in will be a joyful face. And the world we once believed in will shine again in grace. That is why I keep strangling life in this earth crucifying song. It's plain to see that it's heavenly. So be God's love. In my heart, I feel like we are our one family. Create a world with no fear. Together we'll cry happy tears and see the nations turning their swords into plowshares. We could really get there if we cared enough for the living to make a little space, to make a better place. Heal the world. Make it a better place for you and for me and the entire human race. There are people dying that you care enough for the living to make a better place for you and for me. There are people dying, if you care enough for the living to make a better place for you and for me. Said there are people dying, and if you care enough for the living to make a better place for you and for me. You and for me. You and for me. You and for me.
Awesome. Thank you so much for joining us, Francis. I'm so glad that we got to connect again this year.
Yes, I am too. I missed you guys. I missed my tribe. Like, I missed theater people and like weirdos and like nerds and just being able to geek out and just be passionate and like be expressive. I don't know. People are so fake on social media, and it's like I just miss real people. And it's like
I
we're
miss
being
sitting on a
honest with
balcony
ourselves.
with you, laughing and joking about whatever show we're watching.
Real talk. I miss real talk. I miss real talk. Like, no one likes to hear the honesty. Like, I just miss honest, real people.
I miss you, dude.
Yeah.
All right. Well, now to after all of that, to switch gears, bring a little humor before we close that show.
Because why not?
Do you have a bad day, a joke?
I do. I'm not a whole lot more confident in this one than I was in the first one, but we'll see how it goes. Yeah. So, you know, the best appliance to help get you through the New Year's Day bender hangover, right?
No, what would that be?
You need a New Year's bidet.
Huh? Oh. Thank you for watching Scintillating Showcase, brought to you by Intervision Entertainment. To check out everything we do, visit our YouTube channel, My Aloha TV, where you can find even more recordings of the Scintillated Showcase, as well as Pet Poetry, McGarfield, Popular Person Problems, and Scintillating Stories. You can also find podcasted recordings on iTunes, Spotify, iHeartRadio, and Podbean. Please like, subscribe, and share the vision. You can also help keep the art alive by becoming a visionary through patreon.com. Look for the link in our chat if you're watching this on YouTube. Check out the link below. And of course, join us next Sunday for another Scintillating Showcase and open mic night. And now for our closing song. Take it away, Danielle May.
Hello, everybody. All right, I'm going to take you back and do a little semisonic for you. Closing time, open all the doors and let you out into the world. Closing time, turn all of the lights on over every boy and every girl. Closing time, one last call for alcohol to finish your whiskey or beer. Closing time, you don't gotta go home, but you can't stay here. I know who I want to take me home. I know who I want to take me home. I know who I want to take me home. Take me home. Closing time, time for you to go out to the places you will be from. Closing time, this room won't be open till your brothers or your sisters come. So gather up your jackets, move it to the exits. I hope you have found a friend. Closing time, every new beginning comes from some other beginning's end. Yeah, I know who I want to take me home. I know who I want to take me home. I know who I want to take me home. Take me home. Closing time, time for you to go out to the places you will be from. I know who I want to take me home. I know who I want to take me home. I know who I want to take me home. Take me home. Closing time, every new beginning comes from some other beginning's end.
Woo! All right, thank you so much, everybody. As always, in 2020 and forever, please wash your hands. Stay clean. And if you are around the COVID and around anybody else at all that isn't in your own house, wear a mask, practice social distancing, and don't spread the germs. Anything to add to that, Danielle?
Spay and neuter your pets.
Yes. Anything to add to that, Sadie?
Be excellent to each other and party on.
And that being said, good night, everybody.
Good night.